Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of your favorite midday football show on the damn internet, and that is Roundtable Sports Fourth and Forever. We have a great show for you guys today. Please do us a favor as you're piling in. Please hit that thumbs up sign for us. If you are watching the replay of this episode, we highly suggest that when you subscribe to the channel, you turn on those bell notifications so you do not miss out on the opportunity of tuning in while we are live. TD, how's life, man? How's life down in Florida?
Life is great. Weather's good. We wake up, it's cold, and around this time of the day, it's blazing hot. Just ebbs and flows, man. But lovely time to be a football fan right here with the NFL coming off of free agency. Well, continued free agency, but going into the draft soon. Things are heating up, and we're getting answers on a lot of things. Let's get
it. It's very much like that down here in Florida for me as well. Like this morning, it was like 51 degrees, and then right now it's like 78. It's like 79, like one of the two. It's some good times. Richie, what's going on, man? I'm so sorry you're feeling a tad under the weather, but I think it speaks miles into your dedication to Fourth and Forever, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm trying my best to stay grinding, even though the thing you got to do when you're sick is rest. In order to that's my problem. Like, I gotta rest, but I gotta work.
It's a myth.
It's a myth. Yeah, you don't gotta rest to heal. What is this? You go live on YouTube to heal. So yeah, man, I don't know what I got, but some type of virus. But it's all good because we're live on Fourth and Forever. Appreciate all the love as always. Chiming in, everybody in the chat. We love you guys. Make sure you guys invest in the Roundtable Sports coin to the moon. Shout out Cody. You know the vibes. I mean, we're not going into crypto or anything, but hey,
no.
It's an analogy.
I have seen so many horror stories of like all these influencers like starting their own coin, like ruining their lives. So no,
we're not doing that.
No crypto coin for Roundtable Sports is ever.
I do have a brand new shout out to Zachary for pointing it out. Fresh jersey came in hot off the press, baby. Jamie and Sherwood.
Damn.
Let's go, baby. Dude. Had to get a Jamie and Sherwood jersey. I also gave one away for free to one of my Jets fans. Just got this today. Shout out Jamie and for being extended long-term, baby. I always like to get a jersey for somebody on the Jets that's extended long-term.
You know, shout out to our guys. Shout out to our guy, Richie, for always investing into his jersey collection, man. I mean, damn, bro. Like, how many do you have? Like, rough estimate. Jerseys, Jets jerseys. What do you got?
I have them all right here. Look at it.
Some retro ones, man. Oh, man.
Got a good amount.
Mike Williams.
This is Quincy Williams.
Quincy Williams.
We got Breece Hall.
Okay.
Devontae Adams.
Wow.
Great jet.
I mean, dude, it was sick.
Kara Wilson.
Zach Wilson. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Rodgers.
And then probably the best of them all, Super Bowl champion.
And the Joe Namath jersey. You know what? Like
I have a lot more, by the way, too. Sam Darnold, Jamal Adams, Elijah Moore that are former Jets.
So I typically have a rule, right? Where like when I invest in a jersey, it has to be an all-time great and or the starting quarterback that I have a pretty good like understanding he's going to be on the team for a while. I learned my lesson when I bought a Stephon Diggs jersey. The second I bought it the following year, he got shipped off over to Houston. So I get that.
And I agree. And I learned my lesson. By the way, never purchase one Zach Wilson jersey because I told myself I'm not buying a Zach Wilson jersey until he proves to be the franchise quarterback because I bought way too many Sam Darnold jerseys. So I never bought a Zach Wilson jersey. 3 siblings. Don't own one.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
My Darnold jerseys are at my old house.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. It's a great segue, especially as our good friend Richie's Aaron Rodgers jersey continues to collect dust in his collection. Aaron Rodgers is no longer pinned to the Minnesota Vikings, at least according to the news that was dropped earlier today. The Minnesota Vikings dropped 2 little tidbits of information that I think a lot of us have been discussing for the past week or so. Number one, they have been denying trade calls from several NFL organizations on behalf of J.J. McCarthy. as our good friend Jesse said yesterday, it sounds like they are not planning on Trey Lancing JJ McCarthy, and they are quote unquote his guy. And at the exact same time, they said at this time, they have no interest in bringing in Aaron Rodgers, although that they are interested in bringing in some sort of veteran. Now, we've seen this storm before. We've seen these stories before. And it's funny when you look at the actual semantics of the statement, it said at this time. So I'm going to go around the panel and get everybody's thoughts on this, but it sounds like 2025, at least where the Vikings are right now, they are rolling out red shirt rookie JJ McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers. If he wants to play football, it's going to have to be with either the Pittsburgh Steelers and or the New York Giants. I'm going to start off with Tony TD on this one. What do you got?
Yeah, this one's interesting the way that it came out. I still don't know if we even confirmed that the Vikings are out on Rodgers. Ian Rappaport is saying that they're out, but I haven't heard the Vikings actually say it yet. And what I mean by that is they're using deduction here. They're saying that they have been calling. If you read the article when it first came out, teams have been calling for JJ, and they said we are not trading JJ, and they're deducing that to they are out on Rodgers. And the reason why they would be deducing it to that is because I'm sure JJ McCarthy is like, hey man, I'm starting. If I'm not starting, you need to trade me. And I feel like Minnesota's been trying to play this game of, man, how can we figure out telling JJ to chill while we bring maybe Aaron Rodgers in? And, you know, the team is still his for the future, just like Jordan Love. But I don't think the kid is buying it. And I think that they basically been turning everybody down. And we'll see, man. I'm still not 100% sold on the fact that they may not go get Aaron Rodgers. But right now, Aaron Rodgers need to focus on the Steelers, and if not, he needs to retire because those are his only two options that make sense that would actually give him a potential chance to do something special this year. That's it. So we'll see how this all works out. I don't think this saga is over. I don't think that this whole saga is over.
Saga is not over just yet. Richie, thoughts? What do you got, man? Talk to us.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one because the Vikings are still tapped in, apparently, but they're not rushing to a decision. So it's kind of weird to see what's going on. And I don't know. It feels like the Minnesota Vikings are not ready to make the decision on Aaron Rodgers. If they're not going to make the decision now, when will they? That's how I look at it. So it's like JJ McCarthy is their number one quarterback right now, but they're still opening up the opportunity for other guys to come in as a veteran. So it's a weird situation. I think Pittsburgh should be the team that Aaron Rodgers goes to now if they're going to wait and do this long. So I feel like at the end of the day, you look at what the Pittsburgh Steelers did in the offseason, traded for DK Metcalf. You still got George Pickens. I mean, I think that Pittsburgh makes a lot of sense for Aaron Rodgers, but now that the Vikings have been open about it, why not go after Pittsburgh now, Aaron Rodgers? Because I don't understand what's waiting so long. What's taking so long?
I feel like I believe the Minnesota Vikings and I believe this move that they're out on Aaron Rodgers because I just pulled up something. I looked up their pending 2026 free agents. Say, for example, that I were to notice several big names that were pending free agents in 2026, then maybe I would have said, okay, I'm smelling BS. I think this team is trying to win a Super Bowl within this, very small window. But in 2026, the only significant name that is going to be a pending free agent is Andrew Van Ginkel. And at that point, he would be about 32 years old. And that's not nearly as bad as what a lot of NFL teams go through on a yearly basis. I think with all of these contracts that they've signed during free agency, the extensions that they have so far, they're going to have this exact same squad in 2026 as well, for the most part. Key DNA. I think that this should be a sign that, hey, you know what? We are going to give JJ McCarthy his glorified rookie season. As long as he can just play a game manager, he shows good signs of slight game development, we should probably be exactly where we were last year. And then hopefully by year 3 of his career, technically his year 2, that's when we ultimately end up making the push. I think the way that their cap is situated, where their contracts are already in line, is suggesting it's going to be JJ, and Minnesota's probably going to bring in like a Joe Flacco, or Minnesota's going to bring in a famous Jameis Winston, perhaps. Who knows? I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Steeler, man. Although that Cam Hayward did call him out. So the other day. But then again, like Cam Hayward, and so I got to tell you something, man. I'd be damn careful. Like, I understand you're trying to be the protective father of the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, but bro, like, y'all have not had a quarterback God knows how long, all right? Like, I'd be careful, all right? Because he's your best damn option of you being relevant, all right? How many times can your defense will you to 9 to 10 wins each and every single season, and you be okay with that? I probably wouldn't have said that to Aaron Rodgers. He probably ended up going on some ayahuasca retreat or something, and like now he's not going to make a decision until days before training camp, which he probably wouldn't even show up to in the first place. But it's the Aaron Rodgers saga for me, man. Any additional thoughts?
And the Jets are not involved in it, man.
And the Jets aren't involved, man.
We're talking about Aaron Rodgers, and the Jets aren't involved. How does that feel, Jets fans?
See, I got to tell you what, like, I wonder if, like, he's really taking his time, like, to make a decision for his mental health, or whether or not that he's doing it just because he wants to stay in the news.
Well, like, the funny story, that, like, too,
wants the story.
Like, when he made a decision on where he wanted to go after the Packers, when he chose the Jets, like, that literally came from the darkness retreat. Like, if you watch that Netflix documentary, there's a whole story about it where he went into that darkness retreat and he was in a deep meditative state thinking, okay, what's my life staying with the Packers? What's my life retiring? And what's my life going to a new team? And when he went the timeline of him going to a new team, he saw the Jets, and it was all the Jets, and it came to him. So I think right now he's having that complicated feeling of, I don't have a team that I feel very comfortable with going to. And obviously the vision of him going to the Jets was false in terms of there's not a lot of success there. So maybe that was a bad decision of him. But at the end of the day, I don't know what's taking him so long, but I do know that he's not going to go somewhere if he doesn't feel comfortable.
He's not going to go somewhere if he doesn't feel comfortable. So
I feel like, I mean, the Steelers already offered him. I feel like, and that's what he may be mulling right now, mulling over whether or not he wants to do that. So the Giants, though, I know they offered too, but it's like, what is the purpose of doing that? In a division with the Super Bowl champs and the up-and-coming Commanders. Come on, man. Don't go out like that.
Don't go out like that, Rodgers. Go into the AFC North. Although that
reunite with Zach Wilson to the Miami Dolphins. Why not?
Although that both divisions probably will be very competitive. So where in the hell will Aaron Rodgers land? That is up for debate over here on Fourth and Forever. But guys, moving on. So the NFL Competition Committee, it has now been official of all the rules that are going to be voted on here within the next couple of weeks. And 3 rules that we're going to talk about today. Number 1 is indeed the Tush push. The Tush push ban perhaps could be done. The Green Bay Packers were the team that had enough, that absolutely had enough. And the language here is this: if the Packers proposal passes, Rule 12, Section 1 would be amended to say, no offensive player may immediately at the snap push or throw his body against the teammate who is lined up directly behind the snapper and receive the snap to aid him in an attempt to gain yardage. All right, this is now officially up for grabs. Now, they need 24 yeses in order for it to pass. I think it's pretty clear that the Packers will say, yes, ban it. And the Eagles will vote, don't do it. And all the Eagles need to do is convince
the Bills are going to say don't do it as well.
And all the Eagles need to do is convince 8 teams to side with them. If, for example, this passes, then that would be a 10-yard penalty on the team that attempts it. Now, keep in mind, a regular QB sneak, like, for example, vast majority of what Josh Allen does is not where he's actually getting his butt pushed. It's just him by itself. That would not apply, but where you literally have someone pushing a Jalen Hurts, etc. Thoughts on this, Richie? The Tush push. not whether or not you want it to be banned, but do you think it will be voted to be banned? That's the question. Will the NFL say, screw this rule? Talk to us.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting because there's really one team and one team only that perfected this craft with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm sure the Green Bay Packers know if they put this out there to a vote, they feel like they can get the majority of it. I don't know, like what team is going to say, like if there was multiple teams out there that's been able to perfect it like Philadelphia, then I would feel like it's possible that it's not going to get banned. But I don't know. I feel like there's a chance here because that feels like a cheat code with the Eagles. Like it really does. And if there's something broken, and another thing to keep in mind, teams have tried to attempt a tush push and failed. That's not the Eagles. So that like goes to show you, like there's teams out there trying to pull off the tush push, but they don't execute it like the Philadelphia Eagles because they have a quarterback like Jalen Hurts who has a lot of lower body strength. They can drive that ball. They have an offensive line that knows exactly how to chop block and get to the, situation to get those extra yards. So they perfected it. I think there's a chance that it's going to get banned. I do. Because quarterback sneaks, I think is fine, but pushing somebody from behind definitely seems like something that could be in the rearview mirror.
Yeah. So I think about it here, and like I'm really just trying to think of more than just the Eagles and Bills that do this on a regular basis. I cannot think of a team that has attempted this as often as both of those two teams.
The Dolphins can
which
never
makes me believe which makes me believe that I think it indeed will be banned. 110%, man. It's all about a competitive advantage in this league. Whether or not we agree with it or not, have to look at from a competitive advantage, and there's no way that this is not going to get 24 votes. TD, thoughts on this? Will the tush push be banned in 2025?
Yeah, Will. Shout out to Green Bay for being the first team to actually write it up properly. They were very specific in their write up on the proposed rule. A teammate who is lined up directly behind the snapper and receives the snap immediately at the snap. That's the key here. Hey, do it how you want, but you just don't let that format be it where you got like just this engine steaming forward with backup propulsion behind it. And because the defense is always going to be at a disadvantage because it has so much to worry about, whether you fake a jet sweep out of it and all type of stuff. You actually saw some teams, lining up in the tush push, but running a different play. Whether it was successful or not, people will try to build out of that. I think it does need to be banned at this point. I understand when people say, if you don't like it, stop it. But this isn't rugby, man. This isn't, this is organized. This is organized football where the success rate is so high on it. And I understand people say, well, other teams aren't doing it as well. No, a lot of teams that run it rarely, but they have success doing it as well. Other teams are starting to have that success. Let's get back to football, man. Let's get back to
someone's gonna
football,
try some cute shit though. Like someone's gonna try some cute shit where so the running back or fullback is not going to be lined directly behind them, but it's going to be sort of like off to the right. And then what they would do is that they would still do the tush push, but just would not be directly behind him or something. And plus, like, it's not going to hurt the Eagles either, because I am fully convinced that Jalen Hurts would be able to still get some quality yardage just based off of a QB sneak in general as well.
Well, they're just saying you shouldn't be able to push the player lined up directly behind the center. So even if somebody is on the side of them, you can't push that player. You can't push that player directly behind the center. So now if they want to hand it off right to that guy and then do it, that's fine. But that gives that delay where the defense can kind of set and kind of like, make it mano y mano. So we'll see. It'll be interesting though. I want to see how the owners how they take this one.
I mean, it's gonna be banned. It is 110% going to be banned. Second rule. which I thought was pretty interesting. And it's not actually with a graphic. It's something that I didn't see that was included on today's plans. I believe it was the Detroit Lions, and they were very busy with rule submissions. They are now saying that defensive holdings should not account for an automatic first down. Lions are saying that a defensive holding should not account for an automatic first down. Yardage is still going to be at play. And in my opinion, I would have to agree with you, Richie. Sometimes I think some of these automatic first downs are kind of BS. A defensive holding is stupid, in my opinion. Richie, talk to me. What do you got?
Yeah, it's a 5-yard penalty, which is why I think it shouldn't be an automatic first down. Pass interference, yes, automatic first down. But if it's 3rd and 17 and there's a hold that has nothing to do with the play and it's a 5-yard penalty and it's an automatic first down, that's one of my least favorite calls the NFL has ever like it should be, okay, holding, now it's 3rd and 12, or redo it, 5-yard, now redo the play. I mean, that's the reality of it. Pass interference, that's an automatic first down and all that type of stuff. But I always thought that, why is a 5-yard penalty an automatic first down? It never made sense for years. I've been watching this team, and I feel like all these opportunities of 2nd and long, 3rd and long, and they have one little holding penalty that barely has any impact on the play, and then it's an automatic first down, and it bails out the entire offense. So I absolutely think that this is an actual good suggestion by Detroit.
A good suggestion. Hopefully the rest of the NFL agrees. Again, they need 24 votes in order for it to pass. Who knows on this? I have a feeling that some of the league's bottom tier teams may vote against it because that's going to give them more opportunities for yardage. Like the Dolphins are 1,010% going to vote against this.
No.
TD, thoughts?
This is ridiculous. It's an automatic first down. Why? Because if you make it just 5 yards and replay the down, you incentivize the defense to hold. And I know why Richie wants this, because Sauce Gardner, the biggest holder in the NFL.
I thought this well before Sauce was ever in the league. So nice try.
So you mean to tell me a player can literally get broken down at the line of scrimmage and about to be wide open on a go route or a touchdown, but the defender holds him on 3rd and 12. Oh, well, hey, I'm going to live with this 3rd and 7 instead of 3rd and 12. I ain't going to give you that touchdown. Come on, that's an automatic first down. That is an automatic because of what you potentially stop from happening. That's what it's about. And if anything, if the league wants to be fair, screw the holding call. Get rid of holding and make that pass interference too, because it is. That's exactly what it is. We can't just judge because the ball was there or if it wasn't. No, man. If they get rid of this rule and they make it about yardage, man, every defense in the NFL going to a 0 blitz. People going to be 0 blitzing 80% of the time. Hey, 0 blitz. If you get beat right away, hold them. We'll take the 5. We'll take the 5. Just hold them. Tackle them to the ground if you have to. We'll take the 5 yards. 3rd and 15. Hey, if you don't if he come off that line and he gets you, hold him. 3rd and 7. It doesn't matter. No, it is a pass interference.
He does.
And don't forget this too.
You do raise a very good point.
Look at how many times the quarterback. Look at how many times the quarterback wants to go there. If he throws it, it's a pass interference. But quarterbacks today, oh, he's held and fell down. Let me go somewhere else. I can't chance that. Oh, it's just a holding now? No, man. That's the point of it. That is an automatic first down. You're trying to take away what could have been. That's all I'm saying. And listen, this is the benefit. It's only 5 yards, but it's an automatic first down. At least it's not the 15. That's just my take on it.
He does raise a very interesting point.
Yeah, Sauce Gardner want this rule changed. Yeah.
Hey, you know what, TD? So would love to see a TikTok on the Roundtable Sports account today explaining why that rule is bogus.
I already put it up right before.
TD got no time for that.
No, just
did he? I was about to say, man, you shocked me.
Well, TD does have something New. Where is it, TD? Where is it at?
What
is it? The mug?
No.
No, Richie don't send me mugs or shirts or nothing.
What do you mean? I sent you a whole mic set. What do you mean I'll send you anything?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I sent you a whole thing of TikTok mics. You don't even have them?
I never got a mic set. I never got a mic set.
There you go.
Yeah. You sent him a mic set? And all I got was a shirt?
Hey, where's my... Hey, Richie, so it only come with one of these?
No, it should come with two.
No, it only came with one, mine.
So did you just have extras like Richie?
Hold on.
There you go, TD.
Hold on, it might be in the bag. Oh, Richie, you own to something. You are on to something. Man. Yeah, I got two now.
It's don't worry, Dan. It's a Roundtable expense. I didn't pay for it.
It's a Roundtable expense, man.
TD needs it though. I mean, listen, Dan, if he's going to be doing the TikTok stuff, you know that he's going to have to.
He needs it, dude. He needs it. Then Tony says, Dan, you know why I'm here? Have the danger zone. Dan,
oh, wow.
Get up.
With the new 4th and Forever shirt on, too. Whoa, the kick. Oh, that's new.
Wow.
That's
Dan,
new
I'm calling the feds on Dan.
Why? For Bob, man? For beating some for beating some dummies up in here, man. All right. Anyway. All right. So have a couple of more rules that were brought to the table for the NFL competition committee. And the next one is something that kind of makes sense. I'm surprised that it wasn't implemented at the start, was the new overtime rules. Basically, what they want to do is they want to match the playoff overtime rules where each team has a shot at scoring and implement it all the way through the regular season. Basically so eliminating ties in general. Like not unless with either team just, like maybe does not score with all of the opportunities. So this right here was brought to the NFL world by the Buffalo Bills, of course, meaning that if a team scores in overtime on a first possession, then the other team has a shot at being able to go downfield and see if they can match it the whole nine. Richie, thoughts? Should the overtime rules, should they be implemented into the regular season as well?
Yeah, I never understood why it was just a playoff rule in the first place. I mean, I like the idea of the rule, but I was wondering why it was just a playoff thing. Why is this not happening in the regular season? Regular season games that's how you get to the playoffs in the first place. And I think that, the ties, there could be more ties now with this rule, because what this rule does is it prevents you to win on the first possession scoring a touchdown. But if the first team that gets the ball scores a touchdown and the next team gets the ball, they score a touchdown, it's a tie game. And then all of a sudden the clock hits 0. It's a tie game right there. So in the playoffs, there's no ties because that's impossible. It's going to just be another second overtime period. But in the regular season, I think that's going to be more increasing of ties because of that situation. But I do think that, it's weird that the overtime always been like a sudden death rule. I always feel like every team deserves a chance to possess the ball. Possess the ball.
What do you got on this, TD?
I totally agree with that. I want to see more football. I don't want one team to be able to just punch in a touchdown and game is over. Give that other team an opportunity. Give that other team an opportunity to get that touchdown as well. And you know what? You know what they should do? Here's what they should do. If a team scores a touchdown on the first possession, then the next team should have an opportunity to score a touchdown, but require them to have to go for 2 if they do.
Oh, they have to
do something like if you aren't, and it's just the first possession. I mean, because if both of them score, it is what it is, but require the other team to have to go for the win, tying it up, or vice versa, or you defer it. That's the cost you got to pay. Do you want to take that risk? That's what I would do. That would be pretty interesting. I just wish they go to the college rule but we'd have football all night.
Yeah. I would
football.
definitely love the college rule implemented, but hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe it will happen again soon. I think that rule is all but unanimously going to be passed, to be completely honest with you. Next up, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I can tell that Cam planned this show. Cam, you're the man. You are the man. Former first overall pick, Travon Walker, is apparently being shopped around by the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right.
Mhm.
Now, he never really ended up he never really ever ended up living up to the first overall pick, especially since he was in the draft class with several other incredible edge rushers. And I'm curious to see where you guys think that he could potentially fit. Is he a bust in the NFL? Maybe he ends up reviving his career elsewhere. What do you think? Travon Walker. What do you think? Where's he going, Richie?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's a very good football player, but the fact that he got drafted as the first overall pick above Aiden Hutchinson, now people feel like he's a bust. The guy had 20 sacks the last 2 seasons. That's not a bad production whatsoever. But I think where he got drafted is the interesting thing. I mean, think about the Jacksonville Jaguars. They had 2 first overall picks in the last, 5 years? That's crazy. And both of them are considered not living up to the first overall pick hype. That's wild. If you get 2 opportunities to draft with the first overall pick, you better hit a home run, at least one of them. And Trevor Lawrence obviously was the right pick at the time. I mean, even going back in time, you'd still take Trevor Lawrence because I think he's the best quarterback out of that class, unless, Justin Fields comes out there and balls out with the Jets and proves he's the best one. I'm just saying. But listen, man, Travon Walker, I don't know if the Jaguars have interest in paying him long-term, which is why they want to ship him off. They have Josh Allen. I forgot his new name. So I think that's a big reason for it. They already paid Joshua something new Allen on the Jaguars, who's coming off the edge, which is why they don't want to pay Travon Walker the contract he's probably looking for. And he's not a bust, man. It's just the fact, if he was drafted pick
he's in a bad
7,
organization.
If he was drafted pick 7 or 10 or somewhere else in the first round, we'd be saying, yeah, he's a good first round pick. But since he was drafted first overall, that's where it's like, oh my God, this guy sucks. Go look at the production. It's pretty good.
It's the same curse with Trevor Lawrence, huh? Just so happens to be the case. TD, thoughts on this? Will Travon Walker excel elsewhere in the NFL? Will they move on from this edge rusher?
Yeah, I may be different than other people, but I feel like he's excelling now. I mean, he's just completed his 3rd year. He's coming off back-to-back 10-sack seasons. Come on, man. Why are we comparing guys with other guys that's getting 20 sacks? Are we not paying attention to the fact that that's crazy? If I can get a guy who's going to get me 10 every year, I take that all day, every day. And he's still developing and he's still growing. He didn't even finish his rookie contract yet. But maybe they do like him, but maybe the issue is he wants to get paid now because he's eligible. Yeah, you're going to hear a lot of this. This is the time of year where a guy just finished his 3rd year and he's done just enough to say, hey, man, I need to get this deal now. I can't chance this. I need to try to get something now. As a matter of fact, I don't mind it being a team-friendly deal, but I want to get paid. I don't need to be a $25 million guy. Just, can I get a 17 right now? That way I don't risk this year being a bust and then all of a sudden my market is gone. So maybe I think that's what's happening. And they're like, no, we don't want to pay you yet. We still need to see more before we do that. And maybe that conversation has led to them saying, hey, maybe we need to shop you around to a team that's going to be willing to potentially pay you now. And that's what I think it's coming down to. I think he's an asset in a contributor. I don't get this bust narrative that I'm hearing.
See, what could have been, he could be just getting outshined by Josh Hines Allen as well.
Yeah.
So there are other defensive linemen when you look at it, right? What could have been if both of those defensive end prospects actually turned out to be insane? That front 4 should have been deadly over in Jacksonville, and it just never really ended up living up to the hype in the first place, which is, it's quite frankly heartbreaking. It is quite frankly heartbreaking.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I just again, I don't get it. I just feel like you go look at a lot of other guys' numbers. I mean, plenty of teams will take these numbers, man.
Yeah, plenty
You got
of teams.
Dolphin fans raving about Chop Robinson, who had 26 tackles and 6 sacks. And we're over here looking at this guy like a bust when he has 61 tackles and 10 and a half sacks.
Pretty tough, man. Oh, man. And so the world of the NFL are harsh judges indeed. But all right. So I did have one more rule that was proposed to the NFL competition committee. And we chatted about this, I think, a couple of weeks ago. And I'm just going to start off by saying that I genuinely do not believe this is going to pass at all. Like, this is not going to get 24 votes. And the rule is that playoff seedings would change entirely, where it would no longer be the top 4 seeds are the division winners. And I think a lot of this was brought to the attention based off of a record, for example. If, for example, the 5th seed was the Minnesota Vikings that ultimately ended up going 15-2, then they would have been the 2nd seed only to the, of course, the Lions by itself. And there are so many different occasions too, where like you were seeing the 5th and the 6th seed have better records than some of the teams that are within the top 4. Whether or not we agree with it or not, and I know that Richie is a massive advocate of saying, no, that's not how it works. I'm sorry. I don't think that this league is going to pass it, and I would not be surprised if it gets only about 3 or 4 votes in the first place. Because I think when it comes into the division, a lot of these teams, I think that it would just be completely backwards, especially for some stronger divisions by itself. Richie, additional thoughts, a playoff seeding change as a potential rule, flip-flop. Talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I knew this was probably going to be a big discussion, especially with the Lions and Vikings situation last year, and I'm just very consistent with how I feel. If you win the division, you get a home playoff game. What makes the NFL so unique is divisions matter. Like basketball, for example, no one cares about divisions in basketball. You really don't. The Knicks, for example, they're in the Atlantic Division. All that means is you play the team within that division more often. If you win the division, it means nothing. Same thing with baseball when it comes to football. If you win the division, that means everything. You get a home field in the playoffs. I think the NFL has such a unique thing with the division rivals where there's no other like sport in the world that has like these division rivals, which is why we founded Roundtable Sports in the first place, which is why the AFC's Roundtable is something special, which is why the NFC West Roundtable, which is why we have all these roundtables across our network is super successful. Why? Because the ability to win a division means everything. And if they change that and you only get you make the playoffs, but it's not a home playoff game, like, I don't know, that's ridiculous. Go win the division, and that guarantees you a playoff appearance at home. So I think this is a rule that should not change whatsoever, and I do not expect them to change it at all. And last year with the Vikings and Lions situation, I love that I got to that point. Like that game at the end of the season, that's what it's all about. Imagine that game with this rule in place. No one would have cared as much. But since it was for the division or the 5th seed, it added everything to that game. It added everything. And the Lions were the ones to win the game, to win the division. And then the Vikings, of course, lost it, which as a 14-win team, they had to be the 5th seed. And that sucks for them. But that's what happens when you're playing in a strong division.
That's what happens when you're playing in a strong division. TD, thoughts on this? Should the playoff seeding be switched up based off of record opposed to division winners?
I think it should be. I have a difference of opinion on this. Winning your division should only guarantee you a playoff spot, not a playoff game at home, just a playoff spot. That's how I view it. You win your division, you guaranteed to go to the playoffs. That's what that should get you. It makes no sense to me that a 14-win team got to go on the road and an 8-win team sometimes get to stay at home. I don't like that. And if you look at the NFC North last year, it still would have mattered both of them would have had a home playoff game, but it's the difficulty in opponent that you play. So it would still been a huge game because of the seeding. Who had that top seed? Who got that first round bye? All of that still would have mattered. I just feel like Minnesota should have been at home in that lowly division. Who was it? Was it the NFC West? Who was the low down division in the NFC?
South.
The South? And who won that division again?
The Bucks.
Yeah, man, they should have been on the road. They should have been going straight up to Minnesota. And that's winning your division only gets you in the playoffs. That guarantees you the playoffs. I mean, there's been in history a division winner with 7 wins. So, I mean, you get a home game? Nah, I don't agree with that. And a team that busts they behind and win 13, but they got a loaded division and 14 wins and don't get in. I mean, don't have a home game. All that work put in and their fans aren't rewarded for it. Yeah, I just think that division should guarantee you a playoff spot, but not where you're placed in the playoffs. Just how I see it. And that makes it even more competitive to me for league competition.
And so the more you talk about it as well, it does make sense. And so I see both sides, right? Several years, especially I wanted to say it was the Carolina Panthers one year that had like a losing record and had the 4th seed.
It was it was the Giants or the Washington Redskins. It was some team in the NFC East.
Yeah. It was the Commanders and the Panthers did it one year too, where
somebody had 7 wins.
Third record, like with 6-10 or something like that.
Oh,
like
wow, even worse.
Yeah, like was 6-10 or 7-9 or something like prior to the extra game.
I like that.
And look at it from a branding standpoint, though.
But I kind of like that. There's 8 divisions. Whoever wins it,
team.
There's levels to it, but they won that division, and that's how you get better.
And you get it, and that's how you get in the playoffs. Because you won that division.
And 8. Nah, bro. If you win the division, you get to get a home playoff team. I don't care about no record.
Yeah, we know what it is right now, but that's why they're
trying to put like a real life. So I'm trying to put like a real life.
But that's what makes the NFL so unique. And then you strip that away. Then we're going into NBA world. Yeah, it is.
No, what makes it unique is
it makes the division matter more.
No, it still matters because you're guaranteed a playoff spot. Think about if they said records, just mano a mano records. What makes the NFL unique is that they're guaranteeing a playoff spot if you win the division, not a home game. That's just an added bonus.
But that bonus should be there for winning the division. Without getting a home playoff spot, then people will get more complacent and the division rivals won't matter enough. Division records, all that stuff gets thrown out the window. I mean, this league is built off division rivals, and I don't care about a guaranteed playoff spot. Home playoff matters. Top 4 seed. The top 4 seed needs to be the first place in each division.
The competition would be affected if they change the rule today. All right, if you win a division, you make the playoffs, but they put the seeding in order. Tell me, please explain to me why the competition would lessen. Oh, well, I don't have to worry as much. You still got to win it. You still got to go out there and win every game you need to.
Like, I don't care about what the levels are around the league. Like, no matter what division you're in, you're fighting for that home playoff spot.
You're not fighting for that. The whole playoff spot. You're fighting to get in the playoffs.
And that's the whole thing about the NFL. It's so perfect. Why break it? You have 8 divisions. You have 4 teams in each division. All 4 teams are fighting against each other and the rest of the league for a home playoff spot. That is a great system.
Richie, it's actually
that's
more
a phenomenal
beneficial.
System.
It's actually
they're fighting. These 4 teams are fighting against each other for that home playoff spot.
You keep saying they're fighting for a home playoff spot.
Top 4 spot.
They're fighting to make the playoffs. Period. That's the first thing.
The whole thing about winning the division, the big incentive has always been a home playoff team. That's a big deal.
My last point in this matter is
there should be an incentive for winning your division outside of just making the playoffs.
Yeah, you guarantee the playoff spot. That's the incentive.
Nah, you need something on top of it for winning your division.
Okay. So they changed the rule. Oh, since I don't get a home game, I don't care about the playoffs. Is that
it takes away the competitive nature of the excellence of winning your division.
Hold on,
There's a reason why they have it this way.
So you mean to tell me if they change the rule to the proposal and they say you're guaranteed a playoff spot, but you're not guaranteed a home game anymore, all the competitive nature is going to go down. Oh, well, if we don't get a home spot, I don't care about going to the playoffs. I'm not going to work as hard. I'm not, you know what, on this game, I'm just going to do a little less because I don't get a home playoff game if I win
As
it.
time progresses, I think that's possible, yeah.
No,
it takes away the rivals in the division of this league is so perfect. They hate each other. And as time goes on, if this gets past 15, 20 years, 5, 10 years from now, it's not going to feel that same thing because every single time you start an NFL season, all 8 divisions, all the teams are looking at each other. We're trying to get on top of this division. In the AFC East, the New England Patriots, during their dynasty, they had something over the Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins, and New York Jets. Bill Belichick did that. Why? Because he knew that if he could dominate this division, he will get a home playoff spot every single year. And that's exactly what he did. There's an incentive of winning the division outside of a playoff spot, and it's getting that home playoff spot. 110%. Absolute nonsense if they change it. Division matters. And TD, it's shocking to me, and I'm going to go back to what we talked about when this was brought up. We're literally building a company off of division rivals. It's shocking me that you have this opinion.
It's still going to, if they change the rule, I'm still going to hate the Bills, Jets,
yeah, the hate's going to be there, but it's not going to feel as good as when you win the division. You don't get the home playoff game.
It is going to feel as good because when you get the home playoff game, it has nothing to do with Buffalo.
The whole
Jets
thing about going to win your division is getting that home playoff spot. That's what it's about. That's the incentive.
When Buffalo wins the division and they get their home playoff game, it's irrelevant for Miami, Jets, and Patriots. It has nothing to do with us. So it doesn't matter. All I'm saying, well, let me just say this. I understand our difference in opinion on this, but the league, you want to know why it's being brought up? Because it's more lucrative and more entertaining for the NFL if they change it. And here's why. Because if Minnesota, if I got a 6-win team making a playoff with a home win, how much money am I making on that game? How much money am I making on the promotion of that game? Not much at all. Everybody expect them to lose. But if Minnesota had a home game versus that six team, it's way more lucrative. That's why they're bringing it up, Richie. The owners are going to think about the money that they could generate from the better team having a home game.
So some additional context as well. I don't think that it would ruin divisional rivalries
at all.
Like you're only like really seeing, right? So you're only really seeing 2 divisions that have multiple teams make the playoffs at any given year. That rivalry right within the division for at least 2 divisions per conference, they all know that their only shot at making the playoffs is winning the division.
It's the same thing technically, other than those 2 divisions.
Exact same thing. It's going to be the exact same thing.
Crowned as your division champion,
maybe outside of a couple here and there.
You deserve a home playoff game. 100%. I still agree. I still stand on that. Even the worst division in football. But this is my point too. Like
it's a benefit.
The NFC South, like the bad divisions. Like what makes that division more competitive is, it's down to the wire. There's not going to be 2 playoff teams out of this division. It's only going to be 1, but you're fighting for that home playoff spot. That's what makes this so competitive nature.
But you
the
keep
top
saying
4 seeds is that. Like
you keep saying that it's only exciting for that individual team, but not the division. The division,
every season you're starting off the season trying to win your division for one reason: to get either the first seed, which is you don't even have to worry about this. You have a bye, but it's to get that home playoff team. Every single team's goal is to get that home playoff team. You want a home playoff game, TD. You don't want to just make the playoffs.
See, I can't speak.
The goal is to get the number 1 seed.
So I can't.
Yeah, but you want to win your division so you can have home field advantage.
So I can't speak for Jets fans, but I can guarantee you that a Jets fan would just be happy just to be in the playoffs in general.
And that's how I think that, you know what, you hit it. When Richie said that, Dan, that's all I could think of. That's all you worried about is that first round. Oh, that first, well, man, you get that
from
one
a Jets fan, that's irrelevant
game.
because the Jets haven't been in the playoffs in 14 years, and we haven't won the division in a minute either. So what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. It really did it stop the competition? I mean, what we're fighting for. We're not listening. Well, Richie, you believe teams are fighting for a home playoff game. I don't. I think teams are just fighting to make the playoffs. They just want to be in the dance.
Then why? Okay, every single. You know how the NFL is structured. At the end of the season, there's always a division game at the end. Why? Because winning the division matters. Why does winning the division matter? Why does it matter so much? Because it gets you a home playoff spot. And when you win the division, you're guaranteed a top 4 seed across the league. That's why it's important. The NFL is so perfect in terms of the structure of 8 divisions. And if they take this away, I'm telling you, over time, the whole structure of it's going to get dwindled and dwindled.
My only point here is I understand your argument, and it is an added bonus, but I don't think it's going to affect any competition. It will not affect one iota of competition. No team and no player or no facet of the game is going to change their passion in pursuing the playoffs any less if they made this change. But what I do know is it'll be more lucrative for the owners if they made this change, because having a 14-win team go on the road to a 9-win team, that's not making as much money as the 14-win team that everybody's hyped about. They're spending money, jerseys flying, and they got a chance to win the Super Bowl. The money that comes in for that is way more lucrative. So I know why this is being presented, and it may not be changed, but don't be surprised if it is, because the owners see the money behind this. But
it also needs to be. I also think there's a balance. That even the bad divisions get an opportunity to represent themselves in the home at home every single year. You guarantee
represent themselves.
Yeah, in the playoffs. Because if there's one division that's flawless and you have 3, say hypothetically the NFC North, you have the Vikings, the Packers, and the Lions.
All 3 get home
1,
games.
2, 3, they all get home games. Like, that's ridiculous in my opinion. That's
they had
ridiculous.
The best record in the conference. They deserved it.
The two teams that did not win the division, sorry, you don't deserve a home playoff game in the first round. You're a wild card team for a reason. You did not win your division. That's my point. Like, there's 8 divisions that deserves an opportunity every single year, no matter what, to have one home playoff game.
Have you ever thought of the fact that you're also penalizing teams for having multiple great teams in one division?
You're not penalizing.
Like all 3 of those teams can go 3-3 in a division. They all beat each other. All of them can go 3-3 and they're undefeated against the rest of the league. You're penalizing them. I mean, we put all this work in. We won 14 games, and these 9-win teams, we got to go on the road to them.
But that's the level.
We got to go to Atlanta that won 8 games.
But that's the levels of the NFL. That's what makes the NFL so unique. Each division has their own story to tell.
Well, it would be even more unique if they made this change, because now each team gets rewarded for all the work they did in the regular season. I just think divisions only should reward you by guaranteeing you a playoff spot. Guaranteed. You could be trash and win your division. You got you a playoff spot. That's incentive enough to me. You were boo-boo trash. You won 6 games, but you won your division. Here's your playoff spot. But giving them the division and a home game, you're like over rewarding them.
No, that's the problem that you have. Over rewarding. We should be celebrating these division champions. We make merchandise for every time there's a division champion. We celebrate them because it's such a big deal, TD. That right there is exactly my point, which is why it should not happen. Each division champion should be celebrated. No,
they celebrated by getting in the playoff. But here's what's crazy, Richie.
You're making it seem like those teams that win their division, even if they win 7-8 games, like they obviously didn't have a great season, but they beat the teams within their own division. They're better than the 3 teams in their division, and they are rewarded by that.
And they lost to all them teams that got a better record than them. And then you said this, Richie. You said, well, the conference should be able to celebrate the accomplishment. I'm not celebrating Dan going. I'm not celebrating the Jets going. I'm not celebrating the Patriots going. That's no benefit to me.
Wait, what do you mean? That's not what I said.
You were saying, well, every conference should be able to basically celebrate somebody representing them.
That's not what I said.
Yes, you did. You said every
That's not what I meant by it, then.
To have somebody represent them at home.
Division.
Yeah, but Dan ain't representing our division. He representing the Buffalo Bills.
That's not what I meant by it, though. I'm not like, the Bills are representing the AFC East. From an NFL perspective, I'm not saying it from a division rival fan base perspective.
Oh, I mean,
from an NFL-wide perspective, there's 8 divisions. All 8 divisions deserve to be represented in the NFL playoffs. I'm not saying as a Jets fan I want the Bills to be represented. At home.
Represented on the road.
At home.
You represented on the road.
At home.
All right.
That's
all right. Well, we have Hennessy coming in. He says, I agree with TD for once. An 8-9 division winners should no way in hell get a home playoff game versus a 12-13 win team. They're lucky to be there in the first place. Henny, coming on in, man. Listen, it's a controversial topic. All right. And Richie's very passionate about it. So is TD. Me, it doesn't matter because I know the Buffalo Bills would be a 1, 2, or 3 seed regardless of whatever rules implemented at this point. But JT comes in. He's been a member for a month. Shout out to JT. So by TD's logic, if a team wins their division and hosts a better record team in the playoffs, their fan bases won't buy merch and be hype.
No, I mean they'll still buy merch, but if you do the numbers, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be.
Another thing that you're forgetting.
The money generated in Minnesota last year would have been much greater than the money generated where their opponents were. It would have been.
There's no difference. They still sold out. That makes no sense. The reality is this too.
Which fan base is more energized than believing their team can win a Super Bowl?
When you buy season tickets, they always say like pre-sale for a home playoff game. And the whole thing about getting your home playoff ticket is by winning your division. That's what the whole mindset is. That's what makes the rivals between these teams in the division so intense, is that you win this division. Doesn't matter what happens on the outside. You get a home playoff ticket. And that is what makes the unique of the rivalries. That's what's there. And if you strip that away, then yes, of course, every team's going to hate each other still. The fan base is still going to hate each other. But there's an added element of incentive to win the division. And you look at the NBA, I don't want the NFL to turn into the NBA from that lens. There's no one cares about divisions in basketball.
It's no question it's an added incentive to win the division because you get a home game.
But when it comes to season, what about the season tickets I talked about? You guys get a chance to get your season tickets, your first home playoff game. The whole incentive is when you're a fan and you have season tickets and you want to get dibs on going to a wild card playoff game, and your brain is like, all right, as long as we win the division, we will be able to go to a home playoff game and represent our team. That's the whole notion. That's the whole business model that the NFL has instilled in this team. It's not.
And it wouldn't the whole thing about it. It wouldn't change for
and that would
Minnesota.
Suck if you're a team that's if you're the 5th seed, but you win your division, you don't have a home playoff game. That's nonsense, bro. Get out of
the team you're going, but Richie, the team that you're going on the road to play, now their fans gets the first dibs on those tickets.
They shouldn't, honestly. They should have won their division. They don't belong in the home at home in the playoffs.
Yeah, with the current rule,
they should have won their division.
With the current rule, I agree, but that's why they're looking at it.
So you know what? And just when I thought that we wouldn't have enough to go a full hour, damn, baby.
We have the Patreon mailbag real quick, too.
It's that passion behind this topic. Let's go ahead and move on to the Patreon mailbag, folks. If, for example, you would like to leave us a question to react to on the Patreon mailbag, certainly consider going and signing up for our Patreon as well, folks. We have an option to call into the shows as well. All right. Look at that. Okay. We have NY Jets Indy. He's coming in and saying, what do you think Allen, Fields, and Tua need to do this year to exceed the offense past its limitations? Great question. It's not even so much Josh Allen at this point. It's just the overall system for the Buffalo Bills. Just don't fix what's not broken. Still want to see that even distribution in the run game. And then same thing with the everybody eats mentality. That's me. Richie, thoughts on Fields? How does he elevate this offense over in the Jets?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know. I mean, with Josh Allen, you know what he does. Tua, you know what he does. We don't know what Fields does with the Jets yet. So I don't even know what the limitation is. I think from knowing Justin Fields as a quarterback, he needs to be able to throw the ball more efficiently and more consistently, and don't rely too much on his legs. I feel like that's something that I'm hoping that Justin Fields can take that next step of reading a defense, making the right throws, and showing that you can read the defenses on a proper level and not rely on your legs too much.
Gotta love it. TD, what does Tua need to do to elevate this offense over in Miami?
Retire.
Oh my God. Okay. Holy shit.
And then we're
All
gonna
right.
hear Super Bowl. We're gonna hear Super Bowl all off season.
Hey, if we build around him the right way, we got a shot, Richie.
Yeah, you'll draft the guard, and then that's gonna be the difference.
My point here is Tua isn't the one that's gonna elevate this offense or this team. That's the point.
He's the quarterback.
Yeah, he should, but he's not. Therefore, we're gonna continue down this road and try to get pieces around him that can help do it. That's where we're at. So yeah, Tua can't do nothing to elevate this offense. I mean, when we elevated in the past, it was Mike McDaniel, Tyreek, and all that. Tua delivered the football, but when teams take away his string, can he operate in his weakness? No. So
operating in his weakness. Next question comes from LaSalle. And are you guys against Cam Hayward saying that what he said about Aaron Rodgers' darkness retreat? So I said a bit earlier in the show today where I was saying, hey, you know what? I think that he should be a bit careful about saying what he has to say about QBs since the Pittsburgh Steelers have been struggling at finding a quality replacement for Ben Roethlisberger. Richie.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's interesting for Cam Hayward to say that when they're in pursuit of Aaron Rodgers, because if they become teammates, I think that's going to be an interesting dynamic. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. TD, what do you got?
Can you read that one more time for me?
Yeah. So were you against with Cam Hayward basically telling Aaron Rodgers that he needs to make a decision or just leave? Or just don't worry about joining the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Is this more confirmation that the Steelers offered him and they're just waiting on him?
I think so.
In other words,
yeah.
Cam needs to chill. Cam needs to chill.
Yeah, it's chill.
This your best chance of having success in Pittsburgh. What's your alternative right now? So chill. Let the man take his time, figure out what he want to do. And I know why he's saying that, because he don't want teams like Minnesota to come back and say, hey, man, come on. You know? Yeah, he just needs to chill. Let Aaron Rodgers follow the same process he's been following for years, man. This is what he does. He wants to make sure that he's still into it, because when he is into it, he's going to give it all, his all in the 100%, not just make a decision and be 1 foot in and 1 foot out. So I respect the decision-making of Aaron Rodgers in this regard. I know people say you want to put on a show and stuff, but he has to decide whenever he come out of that darkness or whatever he's doing this year, I'm going to give it another go. My spirit, my body, everything that I reached out to in that darkness told me, yeah, I'm willing to give it another go. And that's what you want, an assured player. So yeah, chill out, Cam.
Chill out, man. Chill out. I appreciate that. We have habitual line stepper. I agree with Richie when these so-called good teams go on the road and they should beat these lesser teams. Lies, TD. They wanted it in LA. It's LA. Oh, man. Oh,
listen,
man.
Win that many games, you avoid going on the road and losing. That's the point.
Folks, thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Roundtable Sports, Fourth and Forever. This episode is powered by Underdog Fantasy. And Underdog Fantasy is the #1 fantasy app on the face of the planet. It's very easy. All you need to do is just pick anywhere between 2 to 5 players across all major sports and college sports, golfers, you name it, and guess whether or not that they are going to go higher and or lower than their overall projections. The best part about it is that if you go on ahead and sign up with the code RTS, you can get up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Now, obviously, play responsibly on this. And shout out to Underdog Fantasy, baby. Get in on the game. All right, folks, that's going to have to do it for another episode of Roundtable Sports, Fourth and Forever. Richie, what would you like to say to the audience before we let them go?
We can't skip over Glenn, member for 4 months. He said no, because those teams that are 13-3 could have played 2 easy division, while that 10-7 team played 1 hard division. That's what Glenn has to say about it. Glenn, you got to email us a picture of you so we can get you an emoji.
Yeah, where's the Glenn emoji? Come on. Come on.
We got
DD,
you.
what do you got to say to the audience before we let them go?
Thanks so much for tuning in. Another great episode. Listen, that was a good one on 4th and Forever. Y'all tune in tomorrow. We got more coming your way. Appreciate everybody showing your love and support, and make sure you support our sponsor, Underdog. Go check them out. Use code RTS. Hey, if you want to just sign up and check it out, man. Play around with this, see if you like it, and enjoy, and make sure you play responsibly.
Always. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Deuces.